Welcome to the show. Come on inside to Bearded Biomed, where knowledge provides. We're talking HTM with the layback style, so grab a seat, kick back, and stay a while. Diving deep into your biomedical streams with stories to share some of my expertise. Tune in, relax, let the knowledge flow. In the world of biomed, there's plenty to know. This bearded host has a passion for the quest, bringing you insights, dropping in some guests. In this healthcare world, I'm breaking it down. Gotta let folks know why I wear the crown. Bearded Biomed.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to an all-new episode of the Bearded Biomed. I appreciate you joining today's podcast episode. Season 4, Episode 3. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of it, any support is very welcomed. Help the channel grow. Like, subscribe, comment, all those little things on the YouTube channel help the algorithm, help the videos reach newer potential biomeds out there in the landscape. Of course, if you're listening through Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you might be listening, there are opportunities, especially on Spotify, for you to leave fan mail at the top of the episode, or you can just reach out to me directly, beardedbiomed@gmail.com. You can send in Q&As. You can maybe give suggestions of things you'd like me to cover on the episode. I get a little bit of everything from there. So, as always, I appreciate your support. Let's get into today's episode. So, first thing I want to cover, we got a few topics, few segments we're just going to hit nice and easy. Let's get into bearded news.
I like do da cha-cha.
Prime Minister of Sweden visited Washington today, and my tiny little nipples went to France.
That's what it said on the news. And the news never lies.
Holy shit, there's a lot of news.
All right. So the beautiful thing about not doing a weekly episode anymore is I get the opportunity for news to come to me that catches my eyesight, allows me to kind of pick and choose what I want to do and not do a weekly hit you with things that might not be as interesting. Of course, things that I find interesting might not be interesting to others, but I digress. So first thing I wanted to cover is, some of you may have been aware, Vyaire Medical, they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy a little bit of time back. And I noticed that Zoll has actually made a successful bid to acquire the ventilator side of Vyaire Medical. And this is relevant just because, especially for some of you folks that are getting into the field now or are eyeing the field, the medical device landscape is a constant ebb and flow. There is always going to be change due to merger, acquisition, buyout. Pick one and choose. There's always some kind of upshift or continuation of monopolization, buyouts, etc. Some of the notable ones just over the past years that I've been doing this, AMSCO became Steris. RPI joined Healthcare Components Group. GE, has acquired some things here and there. I know Stryker has the physio control line. Baxter notably bought out Sigma, and now you know them for their Sigma IQs and Sigma Spectrum pumps. They also own Welch Allen and Hillrom. Like I said, there's just a lot of companies that you want to be aware of the medical device that you are being charged with the service. Where can I go to get parts, technical support, service literature down the line? Like, this is something you need to be aware of as a biomed. And it's always a kick in the butt when you are handling a critical down and you go to reach out and go figure that company's not even around anymore, and no one's going to tell us. So just to be aware, I'm not going to get into the whole nitty gritty of it just because that's the interesting part of it to me. Next thing I noticed is, looks like CABMET launched a free mobile CBET study tool, which is cool. I appreciate that there's just more tools available out there for techs to study for the CBET. Some of you may not, if you've been sticking with me in the long run, I believe year one, I interviewed Ivan Joyner, and he created a mobile app that has a lot of technical tools and such to honestly help provide for some of the countries out there that just don't have the infrastructure we do. If you've traveled outside the United States and gone to For instance, Africa and some of those other Afghanistan, they primarily are getting information through their phone. Some have laptops, but not everyone. So he made that information available to where there are study tools on there. There is manuals, all kinds of stuff. So I would still encourage you to check out his app as well, which I'll include that along with information on this too. Having a vast array of study tools is great. I'm always going to opt to say, use the study material provided by the entity that is giving the exam. So AAMI has tools available to help you study and prepare for the CBET. There's the online study course, which I utilized a year or so ago when I took my CBET exam, which at the time, if you're paying attention, I had some concerns about, and those concerns have been addressed. They actually utilized my review along with a couple others, and that has been improved to where I can endorse it now. The number one thing I absolutely point people towards is utilizing the AAMI study group, utilizing the gentleman that helped develop the curriculum actually back in the day with CBET. They do a wonderful job. I believe their success rate is at least 80% of people that attend that study group pass. And, we have other available resources as well. Like you got your Quizlet, and there are people that actually do their own individual study groups as well. It doesn't matter what resource you choose. It's just good to know that there's other resources out there. So I wanted to make you aware. CABMET now has a free mobile tool as well. I'm going to look into that, and I'll put that into the description area below, so you can check it out if you're interested as well. That story was actually launched by 24/7 magazine. So good on Carrie and her team over there for dropping that. Appreciate it. What else we got here? Speaking of certification, so if you were looking to get your CABT, CHTM, CBET, CRES, CISS, any of those certifications, we are approaching the certification testing window. That window is November 1st through the 15th. You have your registration deadline, which shows here to be October 11th. If for some reason you don't make it by then, there is late registration by October 23rd. It's just an additional $50. Just register before October 11th. Just go in there, submit your application. It's simple. It's easy. It describes exactly which one you need to pick to do so. And, you can pay and everything up front as well. If you are looking to take a certification this upcoming, testing window, do not wait until a week or two before you decide to take the test to study. You, at minimum, want to be 1, if not 2 months ahead of the process to give yourself time to not just be able to regurgitate the information you're reading and learning. You want that time to truly understand the material. Myself being in the field 15 years, I still needed time to process. And so, of course, I was going through self-paced as well. I didn't do a study group. But if you're doing those study groups like AAMI has provided, they lay out a clear schedule of, hey, this date at this time, join us. We're going to go over this topic. This is where you can ask questions and review the material along with the instructors and your peers. So that's why the study group is so beneficial. But not everybody has that available time to meet specific scheduling. So that's why there are other resources out there. Just wanted to make you aware, if you're looking to get your certifications on any of the ones I mentioned, October 11th is your deadline to register. All right, next up. Anybody that's been paying attention to anything I've been saying over the past month, I am speaking about the DentalFix Summit, which is quickly approaching. I will be in attendance in Nashville, October 3rd through the 6th. This is going to be a incredible opportunity for you to, of course, network, but possibly receive OEM level training on dental devices. People are going to be looking to hire people job opportunities, revenue opportunities for your company or yourself as a 1099 employee. So I have the link below there as well. If you have not heard about this whatsoever, previous episode 2, I go into a deep dive with Matt Lau, and we talk about everything that you want to be aware of in the dental space, which is quickly going to be added to the generalized medical device infrastructure that we currently service as Biomeds. It is going to be a thing, so might be worth looking into. All right. And Amy's has got a lot of news coming there here lately. So as of this episode drop, this Friday, September 27th, the deadline to submit for your education proposal for the upcoming AAMI Exchange in 2025 will be due. So the exchange next year is going to be in New Orleans. Bryant, I'm already telling you now, I'm looking forward to it, man. I know it's your home turf. It's going to be great times. I'm looking forward to being there. I'm still evaluating if I want to submit myself, just because I do have a speech from the recent keynote I gave, but I also realize it needs work, and I still don't know if it's worthy or not. However, I wanted to make you aware there, watching, listening, that if you want to submit to speak or do any kind of education at AAMI Exchange next year, that deadline to submit your proposal is this Friday. So just go check it out. I'll have the link below so you can go to that as well. Speaking of Bryant, I want to go ahead and let you guys know, as an author myself, which, it's a children's book. I don't know how much of an author title I can give myself, but Bryant has written his own book, Dare to Be Great, that is available for pre-order now. And I believe that copies will go begin shipping out in October. So I'm going to put the link for his book there. Check it out. Over 30 years plus of biomed wisdom, and I'm looking forward to reading it myself. Whenever you have folks that have that amount of wisdom and that amount to give back to people, you want to listen, pay attention. So if you're interested in that book, I'm going to put a link to his website to where you can check that out. I'm excited to read it, and congratulations on the book, Bryant. I know it will be successful. For you guys that are paying attention to the network cybersecurity space, there is actually a free entry-level cybersecurity training plus certification exam and training being provided, again, for free by ISC2. This story was broke by TechNation Magazine, so good on them for letting us know that this is available. I'm going to put the link to their website to where you can actually sign up, create your account. And like I said, this is going to be completely free. For y'all that want to, again, designate yourself, showing that you're continuing your education, which, by the way, getting this certification, I would imagine would be continuing education. So you can also get an ACI towards your existing certifications as well under AAMI. Not to mention, like I said, it's cybersecurity. So having just a base knowledge of that realm is going to suit you going forward. Technology doesn't go back. It is constantly improving, and the cybersecurity dialogue is going to continue just pushing forward into the medical device space. So I'll have that link as well, and definitely check that out. And then just a couple more announcements. Just some things that I just kind of saw on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. Just want to make some mentions as well. Oregon Biomedical Association, their expo and education fair is in November, so keep an eye out for that. I show Thursday, November 7th. Capital I, Mr. Tony Danko, I want to give you your props, sir, because this is a huge milestone. Capital I has reached 100 employees. So for any of you guys that understand just what that means, that is a huge achievement. And Capital I is certainly making their namesake and so congratulations on Capital I for making that milestone. And then last but not least, I know it's been a little bit, but I still wanted to mention it. Jojo Gonzalez, Mr. Aloha himself, has officially retired. And a lot of people, along with myself, truly appreciate everything that JoJo has done over his many years. He has been a force of motivation and just good vibes and good energy. I wish him nothing but the best. I hope to catch you at some conference at some point. I know your love for the field and love for giving back and taking care of folks. So this is it's a good time. I appreciate everything you've done for the field, sir, and wish you nothing but good adventures into this next chapter of your life. All right, so had a lot of news, a lot of announcements, a lot of things that I went through there. Some interesting stuff, and as I see other people, make transitions in their career, I'm just going to mention them just because I want to give them their flowers and just give them a little kudos. Least I could do. Let's go ahead and get into the next segment that I want to cover today. And this is just something that's been in my mind just in working alongside my technicians and having conversations. So I want to get into career advice.
I learned a lesson. Never half-ass two things. Whole-ass one thing.
All right. So for today's topic for career advice, I think this is one of my more important segments just because this is where I get the opportunity to share my thought process, my wisdom on certain takes and certain topics. So anybody that is currently in the field, interested in the field, entering the field, retiring, doesn't matter. This applies to anyone. If you are wanting to move up the ranks to continue to be successful within the biomed profession, your experiences will always differ from your peers just depending on what your situation is. You will have individuals that are in an in-house program that are working as an OEM technician, that is working on a Mercy ship, that is working on the manufacturer side, that is taking care of our facilities through third-party ISO company like myself, even working as a 1099 contractor and doing the work individually, or maybe you own your own biomed business, what have you. One of the number one key pieces of advice I could give anybody is, regardless of the situation you are in, and of course, the situational aspects are always going to define how you should necessarily go about it. But what I want to tell you is that never wait for somebody to tell you what you need to do to succeed. Now, going after and asking for that information, obviously you want to do that. The first thing you want to do is have that conversation with your immediate supervisor, your leadership. What are your expectations of me in order for me to move to that next level? So just recently, the reason this popped up and I wanted to talk about it today as today's topic is our most recent HTMA North Texas event this past week, which was phenomenal. We did a resume workshop. It was a great time. I noticed there is a Biomed 1 that has been in the field 4+ years, has actually imaging experience as well. He's done CT, he's done rad room, he's done mobile, he does nurse call, he does on call. He has very much thrived in building himself up as a technician. And from what I gathered, there has been no conversation whatsoever of him moving from BMET 1 to BMET 2. And that is truly frustrating to me. So what a lot of folks don't realize is every program is different. Not every single entity out there, whether you're working under a Banner Health system or working under a field ISO service company, not all of them have a career plan in place. I know that's crazy, but it's true.
Are you gonna help me or not?
All right. I'll tell you what to do. Go that way.
All of them don't have a clear, defined, concise information posted for you to be able to know exactly what you need to do to achieve. Now, fortunately, the company I work for, we do in fact have that. We lay out exactly time and position, time and profession, and any general educational needs that you need to meet in order to move to the next threshold from BMET 1, 2, 3, 3 to specialized tech 4 or lead technician, branching to area manager to regional manager, whichever fork you want to go at that point. And it lays out exactly what you need to have for every single segment of that journey. Not everybody has that, especially in a in-house program. When you are working in one location as a biomed, more often than not, the rise to newer promotions might be a little difficult. It just depends. This isn't the case for everybody, so just take this with your personal situation. But I hear more often than not, there isn't a space available for me to be promoted because the next space, some hospitals, they only have a couple positions under a certain promotion criteria. And you basically have to wait for somebody to either move up themselves into a newly defined role, move to a new position with another entity, or to retire. We are approaching that threshold within our community to where a lot of the folks that are in those higher echelon positions are retiring. There is the possibility that there will be a vertical movement for you.
So effective immediately, I am promoting you from assistant to the regional manager to assistant regional manager.
But the other aspect of that too is in a hospital system, depending on what system you're in, they might not have a clearly defined position role laid out for you to begin with. Either they don't know what to designate them as, what skills are required to build these positions. It's very hodgepodge. So if you feel yourself stuck, a couple of things you can do. Again, this is why networking is so critical. This is why when I hear biomeds in general don't even have a LinkedIn at all, you're literally doing yourself a disservice. So if you're stuck, like I said, first thing you want to do, reach out to your immediate leadership. Ask, what can I do? Ask for a clear, defined plan of what do I need to do to meet the organization's needs for me and your personal goals for me in order for me to move to that next level. If they do not give you a plan, or they don't necessarily have anything in place or anything for them to reference or to know even what to do with that, not necessarily because they don't have the answers. It could be simply that their hands are just kind of tied just because of how the organizational structure of the entity is. But this is first step, right? Hopefully you'll get answers. That is what I hope for everybody. But I know that's not going to be the case for everyone. So next step. There are a couple resources out there for you. One, anybody that has paid attention to my most recent AAMI episode where I sat down with Danielle with AAMI resources, they have a particular resource that helps you clearly define your path and where you want to be. And it lays out what you need to be eyeing for your biomed career path progression. I'll have the link for that below in the description. And usually the idea with this is you can take that progression plan, and if your organizational entity doesn't have one at all, take this. It's by AAMI. This isn't just me just creating something. This is something that you can use to actually tailor and create possibly a promotion program. The other aspect of that is, if your manager or that entity doesn't have that information for you, this lets you see where you currently are. Because if you're in the situation that gentleman I was just speaking about, you can look at that, say, wait a minute, I'm a Biomed 1, but I'm doing this, and this. Oh, I should have been a Biomed 2 a long time ago. Well, what are my options? Again, if you like where you're at, if you enjoy the environment with the people you work with, and you want to continue progressing into that entity, take that information, let them know where your thoughts are, where you are at, and see what they're going to do. They're either going to create a plan or acknowledge that you need to be promoted, and hopefully everything goes swimmingly from there. If not, this is where the networking comes in. So reach out to peers in your general area. Hopefully if you're in a local biomed presence, to where you can go to these organizational meetups and speak about any job opportunities. You want to, at bare minimum, put yourself out there to kind of read the room and see what the landscape is out there. Dip your toe in the water, see if there are any greener pastures, better opportunities for you to advance.
What's that smell?
A cologne?
No.
Opportunity.
And here's the kicker too. Maybe you still want to stay where you're at. I still encourage you to do that, because let's say you apply to something that has higher pay, a promotion, better benefits, whatever, and you get an offer. You take that offer to your current employer and say, hey, this is what I have in front of me. Here's my offer. What are you going to do about it? If they value you and they want to keep you, they will make a counteroffer. And more often than not, they will either match or possibly go above the offer you just got. And boom, you got a promotion, you got a pay raise, you're in a better situation than you were prior.
I'm stuck! Every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
If not, then you understand that maybe you aren't as valued as you would like to be at this place, and it might be time to transition. There's the adage that you usually want to transition every 3 to 5 years. It just, again, it's going to depend situationally for folks. I've been with the same company for almost 8 years come January. Have I made those discussions prevalent in my thought process on asking everything I just defined prior to right now? Yes. I have followed through with that plan, and it has been, for the most part, successful for my career. In between all that, let's say you're not in this gentleman's situation. Let's say you are Biomed 1, maybe a Biomed 2, but you can't break into that Biomed 3. Or maybe you're in my situation, to where, I had some management experience getting out of the military, or, I felt I was manager material, but I couldn't make that breakthrough in the 30, 40 applications that I put across Texas to, get a management position. And even a couple BMET 2s I got turned down to for, which is kind of crazy, but neither here nor there. I had to sit down and take an assessment of where I currently was and where I probably needed to be. So at the time when I was applying for things, probably for roles that I was not ready for, all I had was a DoD cert, 8 years of experience with some management. Maybe I think at that time it was probably a year and a half, 2 years. And then I had an associate's degree in electrical instrumentation, just because I wanted to have just more tool on my tool belt. And a lot of the applications that I was looking at, a lot of the job postings, usually had on their bachelor's degree. Some of them, depending on what banner health system you're going to apply for, even as a Tech 1, 2, 3, require that you have a CBET. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go ahead and take this Tech 3 offer, and then I'm going to work on myself. At the time, when I had first taken that offer, I don't think my company had a fleshed out career plan, but I knew in my head what I needed to do just based on what I was looking at in my community. So I enrolled and I got my bachelor's in business management. Next step. Okay. Wait, there's this certification called CHTM, Certified Healthcare Technology Management. So this is for the folks that are dealing with Joint Commission DV and DMV, that have to be able to understand what NFPA codes are and their requirements, jumping into CFR 21, understanding financials and personnel management and KPIs. And I'm like, okay. So I went ahead and got that certification. And then I noticed at that point, we had a career plan in place. And one of the other requirements for me to get in the position that I now hold today is to have a CBET. So I said, all right, rolled up my sleeves. And somehow I pulled it off with a newborn baby. I was studying at 2, 3 in the morning at times, just when I had time available, and I got that knocked out. And again, this was without me having a direct conversation with what do I need to do to move to the next level. This was me internally looking at the landscape, seeing what I need to put forth on myself to succeed. And I'm not stopping here. I have dreams of someday of running a director level, maybe over multiple hospitals, and creating programs across the biomed ecosystem that create an exact change for my community. And I know part of that is just speaking with some of the people that I admire. And I've been looking at their careers for a while. One of the things I notice, some of them have MBAs. Some of them have other certifications. Some of them have project management certs. It's just, there's a whole world out there that requires that I don't stop, that I continue to be aware of my surroundings in order to make myself successful. So this isn't saying that don't ask for or just wait for things to happen for you. You have to be proactive in this career. And it doesn't necessarily need to be tailored to promotion. So I have a technician that I just hired several months back, right? Brand new grad, just joined the field. And I can see the motivation. I can see the will to continuously want to learn and get better and thrive as a biomed. And since then, she has been sent to training. She's done, shadowing training to learn anesthesia. And I can see the sky is the limit. She will be successful in anything she does if she currently stays within this mindset. Remember, the biomed field requires that we must be continuously hungry to learn, to grow, and to adapt. If you do not do those, you are possibly a good to mediocre biomed. Because if you're just doing the same thing every day, every year, not learning anything new, just staying in your ways of showing up, doing 9 to 5, you're still doing a service. You are a biomed. You are a unsung hero. But you could be so much more. You don't have to be just because. You can be the guy, the gal to truly shape and change anything within your community, your hospital you work for, your company. Don't hold yourself in low regard. Make yourself understand that you can be so much more. This is what I'm saying. So, big soapbox. That's my career advice for today. I hope somebody got something out of that. Like I said, I'm going to have all these resources posted below. So, and if you have any questions, please comment or shoot me an email, and I will get them answered. I will probably say anybody that's ever commented on any episode I've ever done or reached out to me on email, I've been pretty responsive. And I want to be that beacon to people who can ask questions to. I'm at the point in my career that I don't know everything, but I've been around long enough to where I've either spoken to or heard things, know to point people towards things. So at the very minimum, I can be a conduit to route you to different knowledge bases. So that's where we're going to be with that. So career advice.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back after a bearded message from our sponsor.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. I want to speak to you guys that are eyeing joining the profession. You want some information on how you can get your foot into the door, who you need to talk to, what programs do you need to keep an eye on. I want to point you guys towards CBET, College of Biomedical Equipment Technology. This is a widely recognized, fantastic program that turns out great technicians year after year and will get you the education you need to get your foot in the door and get started into this profession. Not to mention, for a lot of you veteran folks out there, they have a DoD skill bridge program that will get you the tools necessary to make that transition into the next chapter of your life as well. So whether you are someone eyeing joining the biomed profession or wanting to transition from the military into it as well, CBET is a place to look into. They will serve you everything you need to be successful in this field.
Welcome back. On with the show.
Let's get into it. I just Biomed here.
Sleeping on the job, those raindrops are falling on my head, they keep falling.
The purpose of I Just Biomed here is I'm a technician. I'm talking to technicians. I want to share my thoughts on things. And, you know, the career advice part of it, obviously, it's for the point of sharing information, wisdom, etc. I want to speak on, I guess, what I would call P's and Q's, or just holding yourself accountable as a technician. Even though I am a manager, I am still in the field. I am still fixing things. I am still out there with my technicians, doing left-see right training, assisting with repairs. Of course, letting them lead and then being there, if they have questions. The idea and overall success of what I attribute of a technician to be successful is obviously you have to know your craft, right? You have to understand what modalities do. You have to understand anatomy and physiology. You have to be able to communicate with people. And I think that's where a lot of the skill set drops off. Not with everybody. Again, this is situational based on the people you work with. I would imagine everybody listening, watching has at least one person that they can think of that is not the best communicator. So when I think of communication, what am I talking about? Let's talk about something as simple as, you get a repair request on a device. What is your process to get that situation resolved? You get the work order, you get the call task, whatever, you just show up, knock it out, get it done. If it is, you're wrong. There is a whole process that should be involved with remedying that situation. First off, I would hope that you have some modicum of information of who placed the call, when it was placed, what it's on, what the problem is, etc. When I go out and when I tell my techs to go and run these repair calls, incoming inspections, whatever, you need to make initial contact with the person that made that request. One, so they know that their request is being processed. Their pizza's in the oven. You got service on the go, right? We've initiated contact. And at that point, you got to schedule when you're going to get it done, right? There has to be a timestamp on this thing. So my practice that I have used and I find for the most part successful is I know what my schedule is, right? Which, for God, I hope you know what your schedule is like, what your availability is. If you don't, that's a whole nother discussion on organization. But all right, call came in, it's Monday. I have things scheduled out Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever. Maybe I have a free day. I will always give the person the worst case scenario of when I absolutely could get this done. Worst case scenario, I could be out Wednesday morning. Now, here's the kicker to that. When you give that worst case scenario of when you can get their issue addressed, also give them a slight, if I can get there sooner, I will. And usually by me doing this, if I can't get out there sooner just because things just keep bogging me down, repairs go longer, other services I priorly had scheduled go longer, maybe I could kick it off to somebody else and get out there sooner, which is great. It takes care of the end user and the medical device, gets things up and going quicker. But if not, you have that worst case to lean on. And usually, if I'm able to, be a BMET badass and knock things out, I can get out to the situation even sooner, which here's the beauty of that. You are meeting, if not exceeding, the standards that you have placed with the person asking you for service, right? On top of that, by doing that constantly, not just one time, by building this as a system, that person knows that they can trust you, that you're being honest with them, that you're not bullshitting them, that you are making them a priority. And this system has allowed me to not only take care of my hospitals, my clinicians, my end users. It's fostered a rapport where I actually have lasting friendships with these people now. Where I had a couple of these folks at my wedding, because when people feel that you are truly taking care of their interests, that you care, that you're making them a priority, everything else comes along with it. Whether it's adding services, whether it's recommending you to other things, whether it's being there if you have a situation that you need their assistance with. That little transaction, that little system structure of, meeting and exceeding just simply through scheduling will help build rapport with the people you take care of. And this works even with in-house programs as well. I would certainly hope that you're not so bogged down that you have to wait days to get out to them when you could literally walk out, down the hallway to that department. But again, situation, staffing, etc. I'm speaking from an ISO field service perspective, just because we are driving to different locations all the time. My OEM technicians can understand this aspect too. So we got the scheduling part, right? Next step, we get out there. We assess the device. And, we get out there. Hopefully the person's there. Here's another thing too. These people are just as busy, right? They're not always going to be there. Even I can't even tell you how many times I've scheduled something and that person is gone for the day. Maybe they forgot. Maybe they had to go run an emergency errand, whatever. I get there, text, call, email. Hey, I'm here. And then I reach out to somebody that might be involved that could possibly assist me into it, point me in the direction of where I need to go. Hopefully, you know the facility already, know the device that you need to look at. Get out there, assess the device. If you can get up and running that day, fantastic. Biomed badass, great job. If it needs parts, if it needs accessories, if it needs training, whatever. Regardless of if you got it up or you didn't, it needs this or that. You should be doing a follow-up with that person. Hopefully they're there to where you can run this through them. But if not, email. The CYA, we call that the cover your ass email. And I go as so far as, even if I speak to somebody in person that day about the situation, I will still do a follow-up email with that person to relay everything that we had in that conversation. One, again, people are busy. You are not the only vendor. You are not the only situation that they need to address. Usually when a biomed is called out, it is because we need to address a situation that they don't even want to have to deal with in the first place. So you need to make things as seamlessly easy as possible. And I will tell you, the CYA email not only is beneficial to you to provide you, saying that you are, it covers your integrity, right? But at the same time, I've had instances to where people were in those critical situations where they needed to run out. They couldn't be there because something else had gone awry. And that email had all the part information, everything that needed to be done to get that unit up and running. And it made the clear lines of communication and trust right then and there. There was no questioning and anything that needed to occur. And then hopefully, if you need to go through the route of ordering parts, what have you, doing that follow-up, putting in whatever you need to put in, getting that unit repaired, continuation of that checkout and that email. Again, I know this sounds exhausting, right? We have to talk to people. Go figure.
Oh my God. You can talk.
But yes, you have to be able to clearly communicate with folks and let them know what you're going to do to get their issues resolved. Don't be the problem, be the solution. If one of my biggest grievances with technicians is if I have to respond to somebody that has put in a call, an email, reached out to me directly, reached out to anybody within the organization as a whole because they never received reports for their PM inspections. They never got a follow-up email on parts, quotes, pricing, whatever. They scheduled somebody, but somebody didn't show up. You name it, I've heard it. You are discrediting the organization, your biomed department. You're discrediting yourself as a technician. You're losing trust with the person that is trying to have you solve their problem. And I assure you that does not create good, long-lasting impressions. Another thing I tell techs is, whether it's true or not, perception is reality. If a person perceives that you are not doing everything you need to do to get their problem resolved, they are going to assume or believe that you don't care, that you're not actively working to address the situation. Whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter. Perception is reality. And it's even more so difficult for the folks that don't work in-house positions, because you are also doing this for multiple other entities across the spectrum in your community that you're taking care of. So you have to be on your P's and Q's at communication. So that's what I want to talk about today. I would love to hear about any other, maybe somebody has a story, personal situation, or, an experience that they'd like to share with the group. So you can comment below, email me, beardedbomb@gmail.com. So lastly, before we get out of here today, which we'll go ahead and segment there. So before we get out of here today, I did get a couple emails for some folks. They had mailed in some questions, and we're going to get into the final segment of today's episode, Bearded Mail.
We just got a letter. We just got a letter. Wonder who it's from.
All right, it is a bearded and beautiful day, and we're going to read some of these emails. Hey. All right. First email. Hi, I was watching one of your videos and have been interested in this field for some time, but not sure if it's the way to go for me. Currently, I'm a senior in high school and have been changing my mind a lot on what to do. Could you tell me how you got into the field and how difficult it was, as well as the work-life balance? I know it's a long shot sending this email, but I'd really appreciate some help. Thank you. So I appreciate it. It's Panda Gaming 121. I had already replied to you when you sent that email, but I'm sharing this discussion just because I think it's beneficial to folks that, somebody might be in your exact situation and could benefit from this. So I appreciate you reaching out. Like many know, I started my career in the Army, served 8 years, training at Shepherd Air Force Base, which it's now in San Antonio, Texas. It's all the different branches are in that same schooling. And I would probably say 50 to 60% of our field probably went through the military biomed curriculum because the military created the profession. So it's pretty common. I think nowadays there are a lot more avenues and routes for you to get into the field. So first thing I want to say is an in-person curriculum to where you can take apart equipment, get your hands into equipment, using tools, and having in-person instruction is always, in my opinion, going to be the best route. That's what I always encourage. So first thing you want to do is look in your general area at colleges around you that might offer a biomed curriculum. Now, they're not just going to say biomed. They're going to have, there's so many different names of different curriculums out there that it's honestly, it's kind of frustrating. I wish we could standardize that aspect. But you can do an electrical engineering degree, a mechanical engineering degree. I've seen people transition into this field from a biomedical engineering degree, but that is on the process of making, like, actually manufacturing and developing and doing, that's, to me, I don't think it's a clear transition, right? You want to get into the nuts and bolts aspect of servicing, right? It is a service profession. So look out for an in-house biomed program, right? That you can go to your local college, sit down, get instruction, troubleshoot on an actual medical device, test out on it, get your degree that way. Simplest way, right? Now, let's say you don't have one, right? Texas in general is primarily spoiled. We have at least 3 or 4 locally just in the DFW area and several others down in San Antonio. And Texas is saturated with biomed schools. And it's a good problem to have. But unfortunately, there are other areas that don't have that convenience. I recently found out that Omaha, Nebraska doesn't have an actual biomed curriculum school. And this is hurting some of the local hospitals out there and getting new fresh blood and filling roles. If you do not have that availability of a local college program, go check out www.cbet.edu. That is the College of Biomedical Equipment Technology. This is a program that I push everybody to because it's online, it's convenient, it is biomed centered, it is instructed by many military biomeds that I know or have heard of that know their craft. It is veteran friendly. They have a DoD skill bridge program as well for folks that are looking to transition from maybe a different military career into biomed as well. So that is another avenue you can go. So that's the actual college program side, right? That's one part. The next part you can do is check out the AAMI apprenticeship program, and they run you through, and this is vetted through and done in partnership with FDA to be able to go out there, and they have a lot of companies along with in-house programs such as TriMedic, Sodexo, that will bring somebody in as an intern. You are going through the curriculum, you're being trained, and you're also working towards your degree as well. And I think at the very end of it, you take your CABT as well, which is the certificate showing that you are a biomed. Another part of that too is you can actually just go onto the AAMI website, and I believe you can study for and take the CABT outright. I believe if I remember correctly, the only requirement for that is you have to at least be a high school or GED, graduate. And I'll put the link for that information below for the CABT and the AAMI apprenticeship program. But AAMI has routes built and tailored for folks that don't want to go the exact traditional route and maybe don't have the resources around them to get into the field. So that is another aspect. The third route, which is not so much common, but not necessarily uncommon, is I'm going to go ahead and get into this other email I got to address this one. Here we go. From Dylan. Hey, man, I came across your YouTube channel. I've been watching some videos. I love it. Appreciate it, by the way. And I was wondering if you can give me some advice on how to get into the field. I have no college experience, military background. I've been working in sterile processing as a technician at my hospital for 4 years. I really don't want to go to school. I was wondering if there's any way I could get into the field without school. If you have ever seen this or heard of it, please respond at your latest convenience. So this is that situation I was talking about. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people that transition in other medical professions into the biomed field. I've known of EMS, EKG techs, sterile processing. I think I've heard maybe a physical therapist, but I digress. It's pretty common. They see or have heard of the biomed field, but they don't necessarily have the information. So, and someone in Dylan's situation, first off, I'm going to say our field is inherently based on at least a college level education. And there are way more resources available for you to do that, and actually at an affordable rate too. The other part of that is let's say what I'm about to recommend goes your way and everything works out beautifully. You're still probably going to need to go after some extended education going forward in your career to move up into the career. Just my suggestion. But here's what I'm going to recommend. You are already working at a hospital. That hospital should have a full-time biomed staff. I would go into that biomed department, let them know of your interest into the field, ask them questions for one, but see if you can possibly intern in or shadow, moonlight as a biomed, learn the ropes, and take that on-hand experience, maybe when you're not on shift in your current job, and do that for whatever level of time. I've heard of folks that have done this and eventually get hired on as a biomed 1 in that department. And the beautiful part about that is, 1, you are already in the hospital system. 2, you're getting trained by the people that would hire you. And 3, this might allow you to not have to go after the college curriculum if you go this route, and if it works out that way, which, would probably be the easiest route. But again, it's going to be on, is there a staffing structure that would allow them to do that? Do they have anything built to do an apprenticeship or internship program? And if not, you could also point them towards reaching out to the AAMI apprenticeship program to see if you can have something installed that way too. So there are resources out there for you to do so. But anywho, that is Bearded Male. I appreciate the folks that wrote into me, had questions. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. That's what I'm here for. I am here as a resource for you. So before I end today's episode, I just want to thank my sponsors. Yes, I know I got sponsors now. So Uptime Dental, appreciate the support. CBET College, I appreciate the support. Have more sponsors coming down the pipeline. If you were interested in possibly sponsoring Bearded Biomed, reach out to me at beardedbiomed@gmail.com. We can have that discussion. I'm not just going to take sponsorship from anybody. It has to be something aligned with what my vision is. And obviously my vision needs to align with your organization, but it is a conversation I am willing to have, if it makes sense. So anywho, please like, subscribe, share. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. As always, may the beard be with you. Take care. Catch you next time.
Bearded Biomed.